and welcome to my channel. Say hi to a happy day. In this channel, I would like to share tales and stories I personally picked and or my kids' favorite stories. Let's enjoy listening while I read to you the story of the whistling monster. Deep in the forest, where wonderful creatures creep, crawl, swoop, and shimmer, where the Amazon River winds like a great serpent, lived a boy called Kanasa. Kanasa was always boasting how he climbed the highest trees looking for honey, how no one in his village was more skillful than he at catching fish. He often aimed his arrows at the birds of the forest, the parrots and toucans and cockatoos, which annoyed them very much. One day, a huge silverfish was sighted upriver. "I'll catch that," boasted Kanasa. "Oh, Kanasa," wailed his mother. "Oh, Kanasa," wailed his sister. "Oh, Kanasa," wailed his old grandmother. "Don't go too far up the river, or the whistling monster might get you." Kanasa laughed. "Don't worry, I'm not afraid of monsters." He painted his face and body to show he was brave. He filled a kabaka with fresh water and stored bananas and gourds in his canoe. Then, taking his bow and his sharpest arrows, Kanasa paddled away upriver. He paddled for 3 days, but there was no sign of the fish. Then on the 4th day, he spotted it, shining like a moon and big enough to feed a village. Kanasa stood, feet apart, the canoe so perfectly balanced there was not one ripple in the water. He fitted an arrow to his bow and aimed. Just as he was about to let fly, from out of the forest came a long, low, eerie whistle. The sound froze his blood. He fell back terrified. Rising through the trees, he saw a coil of smoke. Kanasa paddled ashore. Someone in this village might know who made that strange noise. He walked deep into the forest till he came to a group of mud huts. An old man was sitting nearby. "Please, sir, what creature is it making that whistling sound?" asked Kanasa. The old man looked scared. "Go home, boy, go home. No one who crosses the path of the whistling monster lives to tell the tale." "Huh, thought Kanasa. I'm not afraid of monsters. And he decided to go back to his fishing. On the way back, the forest got darker and darker. His feet padded through the undergrowth. Other footsteps followed him. Kanasa stopped and listened. The footsteps stopped. Then he heard the whistling not far away. Kanasa began to run. The footsteps behind him ran too. The whistling got louder. He could almost feel its breath in his ear. Kanasa fell in terror behind a banana plant and pulled its leaves around him. Then he saw it. It was horrible. It was worse than anything the elders of the village had ever warned him of. It was wildly hairy, tall as a giant, with claws instead of hands, and the terrible tail that thrashed around. But worst of all was the hole in his head. From out of the hole came the whistling sound. Kanasa shivered. Kanasa shook. The leaves rattled with his fear. The monster saw him. "Run, Kanasa, run!" screamed the voice in his head. Kanasa ran. The monster followed, crashing and thundering behind him. The terrible whistling got closer and closer and closer. "Help me! Help me!" yelled Kanasa to anyone who would hear him. The birds of the forest heard him. "Why should we help you? You only aim arrows at us." "I promise I never will again," pleaded Kanasa. So the birds decided to help. They flew in like a mighty wind, fluttering, pecking, and scratching. They ripped out the monster's hair and clawed his eyes. Kanasa ran and ran until he reached the river. He scrambled into his canoe and floated away. Above him, the birds wheeled like a rainbow. "Thank you," cried Kanasa. "No fish?" scoffed the people when he returned. "No fish," mumbled Kanasa. "But I saw the whistling monster and lived to tell the tale." The end. I hope you enjoy listening to the story of the whistling monster. Please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to listen for more stories. See you soon!